Hello everybody, we're back with another video. It's Cat. Fuck. It's Dakota.
And me.
And that's Cat. And she's finally in one of these movie reviews with me. And we're talking about what is arguably the movie of the summer.
You already know.
Avengers Endgame. And obviously, if you're watching this video and you've seen my other movie reviews, we're going to throw up a big spoiler warning there on the bottom. So if you haven't seen it...
Why? It's been out for... no, you've had enough time.
It's been a week. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, don't see it because there's Endgame spoilers in it. So, alright, so the movie starts out with Hawkeye on his farm with his family.
Mind you,
this is the start of the movie.
Literally, it was like the trailers were done, and they did their typical, like, don't be on your phone. So, like, the screen went black, and then it was, like, super quiet.
And it cuts right into Hawkeye.
The screen comes on, and it's just like, this is how the movie starts. It's just Hawkeye with his kid.
His wife calls him over, hey, it's time to eat, and looks back, daughter's fucking gone.
And I didn't realize it at first, but, like, you can literally
see the dust. And you hear the thunder, you
faintly hear the thunder,
and you,
like how it was in Infinity War,
with everyone else snapping away.
But and then on top of that,
the rest of his family's gone when he turns around.
Right? They're like, "Fuck Hawkeye, we're gonna take his entire family."
And then as soon as that's done, then there's the Marvel logo.
Yeah, they're like, "We're gonna shatter your heart." Right away.
And
then see Tony and Nebula on the ship.
Playing paper football. Like, he's making his message for Peppers. Like, hey, food's gone now. Oxygen's going to run out tomorrow.
Yep.
I'm about to die. Cause, they made him look skinny as fuck.
Right. The CGI was really good on that. So he's like, hey, I'm going to go to sleep now. And so he's laying on the ground.
It looks like he's dead for a second.
I, legit thought he was dead. Because, Nebula comes, and I think she thought he had died.
And she sets him up in the chair.
Him up.
But then he wakes up and because there's a bright light in his face, and all of a sudden, hey, Captain Marvel finds him.
Boom. So what we're thinking is,
since in the after credit scene of Captain Marvel, we see her show up on Earth because of Fury's pager. We're thinking that Rocket gave her
after she went and saw the Avengers, asked them where Fury was. We're thinking that she got told he's out there somewhere in space
and finds them on the ship and brings them back to Earth and saves them.
Yeah.
Hooray. Then they go inside and talk about how everyone snapped away. And Tony gets pissed at Cap and they have another argument.
Which, to an extent, I get where he's coming from, but, he was, bringing up the
whole thing from Age of Ultron. We needed a suit of armor around the world. Kind of.
And he, freaked out. And then he was, brought up the fact that Cap said, we'll lose together.
And you know what? We lost. So... they sedate Tony because he passes out, and they decide, hey, we figured out where Thanos is because Nebula helped us. And,
her bitch ass finally piped up.
They're like, let's go get this son of a bitch, word for word from Cap.
Language.
So the title card comes on. I love the Avengers theme, so I could listen to that all day. But
yeah,
they hop in the Minotaur. They hop through a wormhole. Well, not wormhole. They go through one of those hexagonal jump things.
Rocket's like, who here hasn't been to space?
So they go to the garden, which is the retirement planet, and they subdue Thanos and cut his arm off.
This motherfucker is just chilling.
So they cut his arm off and realize, hey, the stones are gone. They're like, where the hell are they?
They're like, wait a minute.
He's like, oh, I did another one of these and destroyed them.
They're like, he's lying. And Nebula just pops in.
My father's in many things, but a liar's not one of them. And which, they've kind of shown that.
Right. Thor walks over, and he's all up in his feelings and shit, and
cuts his goddamn head off.
His head gets chopped off. And they're like, what the fuck? What did you do? Why did you do that? And he's like,
I went for the head.
I went for the head.
Anyway, after that, it jumps ahead 5 years into the future.
Which was fucking nuts. You couldn't have done, a more, reasonable thing?
It's not really that bad.
A year or...
So we see Cap doing his thing, trying to get people to move on.
He has this, support group thing.
Natasha's doing her thing, trying to protect the world as much as she can.
Yeah.
But it's she can't really do much.
Right.
Rocket and Nebula are out doing their thing. Captain Marvel is doing her thing.
And she got a haircut.
Which, might I say, Captain Marvel with short hair, yes.
Okoye's off doing a thing. Brody is off doing something else.
And they bring up Clint, who's like killing a bunch of bad guys, but he's like,
yep.
It's like brutal shit. And the whole world's just in fucking shambles. Cap comes to the compound and they talk for a bit, and then Ant-Man gets out of the quantum realm because of a rat.
Oh yeah, that was fucking hilarious. He comes out in this fucking storage unit. Mind you, it's been 5 years, and he's like it felt like 5 hours.
Yeah, so he's talking to them about that. He's like, okay, well, since it only felt like a short time for me, what if there's a way that we can time travel using the quantum realm?
So, yeah, they're trying to sit there and figure that out. Meanwhile, Tony is just off, like, by a lake. He's got a kid now, and he married Pepper.
Lil Morgan. The others show up at his house, and they talk to him about, hey, can you help us make this work? And he's like, fuck no.
Yeah, he's like, I got too much to lose. The next scene is like him in his fucking house. What is he working on?
That shit.
Him and Pepper talk about it. Because, like, he figures it out. He figures out how to do it.
He says, like, I can just put it in a box and put it away and I go to bed.
Can you really rest if you do that, though?
Next scene, we see them trying to do time travel at the Avengers compound. It kind of works, but it also makes Scott a baby and an old man.
And a teenager.
But then Tony comes and he's like, hey, I got it figured out. We'll put a GPS thing so that way they move through time and not time moves through them.
Yeah. And then after that, it's really exciting because he gives Cap his shield back and he's like, keep that on down low. I didn't bring one for everyone.
With Tony back, they're like, okay, let's get the rest of the team together. So Nebula and Rocket show up in their thing. Bruce was already there. We didn't really talk about him, but he's Professor Hulk now.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Because they're like, let's get the team back together. And where do we find freaking Hulk? He's
eating. He's hungry.
He's at a diner. Then these kids show up. And he's, like, taking pictures with kids. And they know a catchphrase, like, Hulk out. And it's just like...
Dab.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
And then when Hulk and Rocket go to get Thor, because... the Asgardians set up in Norway, where Odin died, to make new Asgard.
Yep.
And, we find out Valkyrie and Korg are alive, which is good, but they're playing fucking Fortnite in Thor's house.
Yeah.
Thor's fucking fat now.
Yeah, they made him fat and a drunk.
Because he's depressed, because, he still failed. They lure Fat Thor back to the Avengers compound with everyone else. Natasha goes to get Hawkeye in Japan because he's fighting a Yakuza head, I think it was. Yeah. Now that he's the Ronin character, it's like, that's pretty dark.
It's pretty dark.
Anyway, they bring everyone back to the Avengers compound, and Hawkeye tests out the time travel shit, and they figure out it works.
But after that, they realize that they can do it, and so they're like,
alright, let's get these stones.
They're trying to figure out, they spend the next couple of scenes trying to figure out where all the stones are, and, like, they ask Thor where the ether is, and he explains that, and he gets depressed again.
And, like, they realize that there are 3 stones technically in New York during the Battle of New York and Avengers.
Natasha is like, guys, if we pick the right time, there are 3 Infinity Stones in New York. And they're like...
shut the front door. Time, space, and mind are all in New York in 2012 during that battle.
Yep. And so they figure out where the other ones are. And they split up into teams. And they're like, don't fuck this up.
Don't fuck up. Hulk gets the time stone. Cap gets the Mind Stone, but has to fight his past self. His
past self thinks that his current self is Loki because he escaped.
Yeah, Loki escaped because Tony got hit in the face with the Hulk.
Tony got hit with the door.
And the Tesseract got knocked out of the briefcase. And so he escapes, and they're like, fuck, now we have to figure out what to do about the Tesseract. And so they figure out that they need to go to 1970, which was when the Tesseract was there. And also Hank Pym, working on Pym particles.
The original Ant. And
Tony gets to talk with his dad for a bit in the past, so that was really nice for him. They get the Tesseract and the Pym particles so they can come back. Thor and Rocket go to get the ether out of Jane, and Thor fucking chickens out.
Yeah, he chickens out and he's all emotional and stuff because he realizes that's the day his mom dies.
But he talks with his mom, and she helps him figure out that shit's gonna be fine. Rocket gets the ether out of Jane, and Thor's like, before they go, he calls Mjolnir to him. He's like, I'm so worthy, cool.
Yeah.
And
so that's how he gets Mjolnir.
Hawkeye and Black Widow go to Vormir to get the Soul Stone,
and they are like going, and so Red Skull is like, wait a minute. Nah, man, you can't have that stone unless you give me something. It's an eye for an eye, soul for a soul. And so they finally realize
one of us needs to get sacrificed.
One of us has to die.
So
Hawkeye's like, let me do it. You know all the shit I've done. He's like, let me do it. And Black Widow's like, no, I'ma go.
So they fight
probably 5 minutes.
They fight for a bit trying to sacrifice themselves.
Beat each other to it. Finally, you think Hawkeye is gonna win because he shot an arrow, like an explosive arrow, at Black Widow. And so you see him jump, but then all of a sudden, Black Widow comes out of nowhere, fucking does his little...
yoink! And then fucking grappling hooks on the side of the wall, and attaches it to Clint.
And he's looking at her like, oh, you bitch. You know damn well I can't hold on to you and this fucking hook.
And so she sacrifices herself. So she sacrifices herself, Clint gets the Soul Stone.
I bawled my eyes out, it's fine.
Then over on Morag, because they're in 2014, both teams were.
Yeah.
War Machine and Nebula are waiting for Peter Quill to come get the Power Stone.
While they're sitting there waiting, she's like, we gotta go, because we're not the only ones looking for this stone.
Nebula and Rhodey get the Power Stone. Nebula sees that her consciousness and, mind computer is linked with the old Nebula.
Because it, spazzes out, or whatever.
Yeah, so they figure out that Nebula is from the future. They scan her memories. They pick her up on Morag as she's trying to warn Black Widow and Hawkeye.
Instead of just doing her time jumpy thing, whatever, she decides, I'm gonna run back to the ship and try and warn them. They take her onto the ship and they're, looking at her memories and stuff. Old Nebula is like, wait a minute, this comes off. And so she takes off, the gold thing that's on her head, or whatever, and essentially,
she makes herself look like future Nebula.
Yeah.
And goes to the future.
And she's pretending to be
the future Nebula.
The future Nebula. So they all come back or whatever, and Hawkeye they're all excited because it worked and everything. And then Hawkeye falls to his knees, and then that's when they realize that Natasha didn't come back.
So they get their shit together and finally make the gauntlet with Stark Tech and put the stones in it. And so they're figuring out, hey, who's gonna fucking do this? And Thor's like, I'll do it, but he's too fat and not in the right headspace to do it.
Hulk is like, no, it's gotta be me because of the gamma rays. So he puts it on. His arm gets all fucked up like Thanos' did.
But he's able to snap everyone back.
Barely. Because, it was, burning him and everything. And so he, barely does it. And they're like, did it work? Ant-Man goes out.
Hawkeye's phone rings, and it's his wife, and he talks for a minute. But
and you see all the birds and stuff.
But while they were doing that, Nebula brings Thanos' entire fucking warship.
Yeah.
And
she,
so
pulls up, and his entire fleet.
And so they bomb the hell out of the Avengers facility.
After they realized that it worked,
Yeah, and so Hulk and Rhodey and Rocket are trapped underground underneath the 2 tons of shit and it's flooding with water.
Rocket almost dies.
But Ant-Man goes and saves them because he's Ant-Man.
Yep.
Hawkeye is running through the tunnels being chased by the Outriders
with the
gauntlet. He has the gauntlet.
He was the one that found it.
Yeah.
And then...
But he gets away from them. Past Nebula comes and gets it and hey...
Oh, yeah. And he's like, hey, I know you.
And so she's about to kill Clint, but Gamora and future Nebula come and stop her. And they're
trying to get her to, switch sides or whatever, because they're Nebula's you see what we become. But
she's not having it, and so
she's just
she
like,
points
nope.
her gun at Gamora, and Future Nebula shoots her.
Yep.
And there's no ramifications because that's not how time travel works.
There's no ramifications. Just, okay, this is the thing.
So, Thanos is sitting there waiting for Nebula to bring the stones, which
he's
isn't
just
gonna happen
casually
now.
sitting, and so Thor has been standing there watching him. And so Tony and Cap come up and they're like, what has he been doing? And he's just
Nothing.
sitting there. And like, he's doing nothing. And so they go up and like confront him, and
Thor suits up with both Mjolnir and Stormbreaker.
And instead of, like fixing him and making him like hot again, they're like, we're gonna keep the long hair and the disgusting beard, and he ends up with a half man bun, and his beard is braided all of a sudden.
You're a little too upset over that, but it's not.
Yeah,
So those three fight Thanos while Ant-Man is trying to get the others out. And
yeah.
The coolest part, while Thor is battling Thanos and getting the shit kicked out of him, and Thanos grabs Stormbreaker and is about to fucking kill him.
Yeah, he's like pushing it into his chest, and it goes in a little bit, and then all of a sudden,
you see Mjolnir lift up a little,
yep.
And then like it smashes into Thanos, and it gets called back, and Cap is holding the fucking camera.
It was amazing.
Thor's like, I knew it. And so Cap fights
Cap
Thanos with Mjolnir, and after a while it works, but then Thanos like picks up his double-bladed thing
and he
starts breaking the shield.
Yeah,
and
he's
knocks him
able
the
to
fuck
break
back.
the shield, and he essentially breaks it in half.
Yeah, but Cap stands back up as his entire fucking army comes out of the ship,
showing up, and there's
all the Leviathans, the Chitauri, the Outriders, the Black Order show up, and these big fucking gorilla beast things.
And like, it's the coolest shot, but like the camera like pans out, and you see Cap all by himself against.
I was expecting him to make that as long as one man stands alone speech.
Which I really wish he would
I wish
have.
it would have happened, but like it's fine. But then as he's walking, you see him stop, and you hear Falcon come over the columns.
On your left.
And he says on your left, and a portal comes up behind him,
Cap's
from one of the
Cap's
wizards.
Like super confused for a second. He's like, "What?"
And so Black Panther, Shuri, and Okoye come out.
All their people.
The Wakandan soldiers come out.
Slowly you see more portals opening up, and just everybody is coming back, and it's beautiful.
There are things that were in that were in the New Rockstars breakdown that I didn't even notice, like the Ravengers from outer space, fucking Howard the Duck, I guess. But everyone shows up, the new Asgardians, the wizards that Doctor Strange could find. Doctor Strange and the Guardians and Spider-Man.
Everybody from Titan.
Now comes my personal favorite bit of the movie, where everyone is showing up, and then as everyone gets into a battle-ready pose, Cap calls out, Avengers! And calls Mjolnir to himself and just says,
and he,
assemble.
And he's like, assemble.
And they all charge, and I
was sitting in the theater, and I'm like, yes!
And I get chills every time I see it, because I work in a movie theater. Anyways, so we have a big battle. Spider-Man saves Tony, and they're talking, and Spider-Man's being really quirky, and
Spider-Man is being Spider-Man.
And Tony decides to finally hug him, like he almost did in Homecoming.
Well, yeah.
Star-Lord gets saved by past Gamora, and so he's like, I thought I lost you, and he was gonna go in for a kiss. She fucking knees him in the balls
twice.
Hawkeye's running around like, what should we do with this? And we need to send them back, but it's like we can't because Thanos destroyed the quantum tunnel.
It's like, and we're a little busy trying to fight everybody.
But Ant-Man chimes in and is like, hey, that's not our only one. So he calls for the fucking van.
He's like has the keys or whatever. Cap's like, has anybody seen an ugly brown van?
Ant-Man and the Wasp go to try to get that all sorted and taken care of.
To go fix it because it's all fucked up.
And now it's like a game of like fucking Avengers keep away.
Yeah, they're basically playing keep away.
Because Hawkeye gives it to T'Challa. T'Challa throws it in the air, and Spider-Man catches it.
Yep, and then Spider-Man's got it for a while, and then we finally get to see instant kill.
Yeah, that was cool to see.
Amazing.
After a while, like we see Thanos like trying to get it, but attacking everyone. And then Scarlet Witch shows up, and she gets really pissed.
Excited. Which is understandable,
Yeah, because he killed Vision. And so she's fucking kicking his ass.
Yeah, when she first pops up, she's like, "You took everything from me," and he's like,
I don't even know.
I don't know who you are. And she's like, "This is like one of the coolest things." She's like, "You will," and she starts like fucking him up, like ripping his armor off and stuff.
He calls the Corvus Glaive, and they fire their fucking weapons from the ship down on everyone for a bit.
Yeah.
And then after a while, it stops, and they start shooting at something that's coming from the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And that's when Captain Marvel shows up.
Fucking finally, it's like, where were you 20 minutes
I feel
ago?
like that they underused her a bit in this movie, but at the same time, it's like.
It's
I liked when
really
she's
about
there.
her.
I liked her when she was there.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's not really about her.
And so she goes to Peter to help get the gauntlet.
Mind you, this is after she, like, blows through their ship.
Oh, yeah, she destroys
it.
The ship.
Like, it's no problem for her.
And I'll let you explain this part.
And so they tell her where she needs to get it to, and they're like, Peter's like, I don't know how you're going to get through all that. And all the girls, all the women, like, look, even Mantis, she's fucking useless. All the girls are like, we got this. And so they're, like, kicking ass and helping her, and then she starts fucking zooming through.
But Thanos beats her down, and fucking while he's trying to put the gauntlet on, she's, like, holding it off. And he, like, fucking headbutts her, and she doesn't flinch.
And it, like, doesn't even affect
like,
her. And
damn,
he's
bitch.
like, what the fuck?
But he takes the Power Stone out and fucking hits her away. And Tony's like sitting there looking, and he looks over at Doctor Strange. And a bit ago, Doctor Strange was like, "If I tell you what happens, it won't happen."
Yeah.
But now Tony looks over at Doctor Strange, and he's
in the middle of like fighting people, but he just like holds up his finger and like twitches it a little bit. And Tony's like,
it's like, all right, it's time to do this. And so Thanos puts on the Stark Tech gauntlet. Tony goes over, and we see them fight for a bit. But Thanos shoves him back, and he's like, I am inevitable. He snaps, but nothing happens. You see him turn over. All the stones are gone.
And he's like, it was like a slow motion thing for him, I think. And he's just like,
all the stones are gone. You look over to Tony.
The camera pans over, and Tony's like, and you just see all the stones like crawling up going up his arm into the
gauntlet
into his hand or whatever, and he's like, I am Iron Man.
Snaps, and all of Thanos' forces just dust away.
Yeah, and then basically Thanos is like, fuck.
And then he dusts away. I feel like his dust was a little darker than everyone else's. But after that, after everyone dusts away, Tony's like all sorts of fucked up. Like his face is all crusty, and like his arms all fucked up.
Like the Hulk did.
Like Hulk and Thanos did.
But it's like way worse because he's
just human. And so everyone's like getting all sad, and Peter's crying because he
realized what happened.
Yeah, and then Pepper
comes shows
over,
up, and she's like consoling Peter.
Anyway, she looks at Tony and is like, now you can rest. And then you see his arc reactor go off, and he fucking dies. And so after that, everyone tries to go back and like do their normal lives again. And Tony's doing this narration thing in the background, but it's like a hologram of him.
Yeah.
Like, hey, in case of an untimely death, like I'm gonna make this recording for you guys.
Didn't he do it like the day before it happened or whatever? Yeah.
Because the time travel thing and the whole last battle takes place in the span of a day.
Yeah.
So like he's wrapping up his hologram recording for them. It looks like he's looking at his daughter, but obviously he's not there.
It was just like in a general
direction. But he says, "I love you 3000" because that's what his daughter said to him earlier in the movie, and it was so cute.
I was basically just bawling like a baby the entire time.
So they go out of Tony's house and like they go over to like the river or lake or whatever. And Pepper sets some flowers down, and on it, it's the arc reactor from Iron Man 1, and it says proof that Tony Stark has a heart.
It's the thing that she gave
it's
him.
Like, god damn it.
And they pan away from that, and they're slowly going over, like, showing that everyone's there. And in the fucking background, there's this random kid. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm like,
we didn't know who it was at first, but I figured out.
Who is this kid?
And I figured out that it's Harley from Iron Man 3, just older. It's the same actor who came back and reprised his role.
Ty Simpkins came back and reprised his role, which is thought
awesome.
was really cool. That they got a lot of people back to like reprise their roles and everything. Like everybody was there, and even like Fury was there.
Hawkeye and Wanda are standing there talking like, I wish I could tell Nat that we won, but and Wanda's like, she knows. They both do.
They both do.
Because Vision didn't come back.
Yeah, which was really sad.
And then Happy is on the porch with Tony's daughter and is like, "Hey, are you hungry? What do you want to eat?"
And she says cheeseburgers.
Because of Iron Man 1, that's what he wants when he came. That's what he wanted when he came back.
Like, I was just a mess.
And then we go to Cap doing his mission to return the stones, which we don't even know if he does.
I would assume so. I don't know why.
Some of them are like impossible to do.
Oh yeah,
because the Tesseract needed to be in the cube, the Mind Stone needed to be in the scepter. How the fuck can you return the Soul Stone? The Russos say that it was all done for a reason. Even the next part, which is Cap doesn't come back.
No, he does.
Well, I mean, kind of.
He does,
he's
but not,
he's an old man.
Not the way he should be.
He stayed.
Which is really fucked up.
He stayed in the past and lived out a life with Peggy.
Yeah.
And then when he comes back,
he's an old man.
He's like, "Hey, I got you this," because Sam's over there talking to him.
Because Bucky basically told Sam to go over there or whatever.
You do it. And he gives Falcon the shield and is like, "You're Captain America now." Which some people were upset about. You were upset about it.
Well, yeah, because I feel like that's just
they feel like Bucky should have been Captain America. It's like.
Well, cause
I'm fine either way, I guess. It would have probably meant more. I guess it probably would have meant more if it were Bucky, but like it still means quite a bit for Falcon.
I mean, I guess.
We see them shake hands, and you see a wedding ring on Cap's finger. Falcon's like, "You want to tell me about her?" He's like, "No."
No, I don't think I will.
And it fades to the past, and you see Peggy and Steve dancing in a house.
And that's how the movie ends.
There's no after credit scene. There's nothing there.
There's a really cool It's
a nostalgia thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved this movie.
Yeah, I loved it, even though there were parts that made me mad and sad, and
every movie has some issues. Like there are going to be some bits that you don't like, obviously, but. This honestly is like either number 1 or number 2 of my MCU ranking.
I think it's number 1 for me.
I don't know what I'm going back and forth between it and Infinity War, but
yeah.
What do you think for a score?
10 out of 10.
10. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah,
but
I'm curious to see what they do with.
It's gonna be interesting to see what they do in the future. But it's like. If you don't want to watch any MCU movies, if you don't want to follow the MCU anymore, this is a good end. And like, I understand. People understand. I understand what if you don't want to. I mean, we're still going to go see them, obviously. But like, if you don't want to, it's kind of understandable. This was a great movie, and it was quite the fucking experience.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Thanks for making this video with me, sweetie.
You're welcome.
Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully we can do more of these in the future. This has been Dakota.
And Kat.
And we'll see you all in the next video. Bye guys.